Okay, guys, so welcome to, I think this is the third installment, and I've been looking at people's requests online as to what sort of information they want. And the next big one is writing academic assignments. Now, that's a massive, massive area, and you could literally write a book or a series of movies all on how you go about doing that. So what I've thought would be the easiest thing to do would be to break it into three parts. So the first part, which is what we're going to be doing today, is looking at the preparation for writing an academic assignment. And I'm going to briefly talk about the kinds of assignments you might be asked to write. This is particularly within the social sciences and humanities. So when I'm talking about essays, that's what I'm talking about. That's the discipline we're looking at. So if you're someone in teacher training, or you're in a history degree, geography degree, comparative religion, theology, that kind of thing, we're going to look at that. The second installment will be looking at how you go about writing an assignment. So we've got the preparation and we've got the writing. They're two different skill sets, and with all the will in the world, you can be the most well prepared person. And when you come to write it, really struggle to get your thoughts down in a coherent way, or vice versa. You might be a really, really engaging writer, but just lack the preparation that makes it an interesting piece of writing as opposed to an informed and erudite piece of writing. And then the last bit, which is, I would say, to be honest with you, the most important bit, and it's the one that I see students gloss over all the time and then come to me later on saying, okay, I've done this fantastic assignment, I've written another assignment and I've gotten even fewer marks, even though it's the same marker. How has that happened? And it's basically responding to feedback. Tutors like me, we spend an awful lot of time crafting the feedback for you, so that it's aimed specifically to you and for you with a mind to your next assignment. And if you don't engage with that, you're kind of missing a trick. So we're going to talk about all three of those things in three different shorts, and hopefully they'll help you. So today's one, okay, as I promised, we'd be doing preparation. Well, preparation is key. If you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. And I know that's a cliche, but it's borne out every time I read an assignment. It's really, really clear who's failed to prepare and who's done their preparation to a T. And you're probably thinking, okay, where do I begin doing that? And you're probably have got images of the library or sat at home looking at ebooks or whatever and thinking, okay, I've got this absolute ocean of material. Where do I go from? So what I want you to do for a minute is just park those anxieties. Let's put all the reading and all of that sort of research to one side. There are some other things that you should be doing well before you get to that point. And what that will do will straight away shrink your ocean down to a small lake. And it's going to help you sort of navigate those murky waters. That was a good analogy actually off the top of my head. So we'll hold on to that one. I'm gonna copyright that. Okay, so in regards to preparation, the first thing you're going to be given is you're going to find yourself on a module. Okay, so if you're on a year one degree in England and it's a 3-year degree, chances are you're going to be doing 6 modules. So there's going to be 6 different types of assignments. Some of them will be presentations, some of them could be poster presentations, some of them could be reflective accounts, or just simple straight academic essays that have been around forever. So the first thing you need to do is on your module, and you're going to hate me for saying this and you're going to think, please God, why has he said that? I don't ever want to engage with it. You need to go onto the module website or talk to your module tutor or lead, and the first thing you need to say to them is, please give me access to or a copy of the module handbook. Yes, they're very, very dull, and I write them for modules, and even though I write them, I find them very dull. They're not supposed to be an engaging read. What they're supposed to be is an informative read. And what they will outline is the basic content of the module, so what the module is going to get at, the specific learning outcomes that you will achieve if you attend all the sessions and you do all the sort of activities that you're asked to do. And then the final thing it will tell you, or there's 2 final things, is 1, the name of the assignment, or what you're being asked to do, the question title, so on and so forth, and the marking criteria. So all of those pieces of information are absolutely vital. If you don't have them, and you don't look at them other than the title of your assignment, I guarantee you, straight away, you're going to be floundering on the barely pass mark. Trust me on that one, because it's almost like being in a darkened room and trying to throw a ball into a net whilst that net is moving. Okay, so that net is essentially your assignment title. Okay, you know where it is, you know where it's moving around, and you've got your pen in your hand, your ball, and you're about to throw that. That's what you've got. but you're in a darkened room in the sense of you don't see what obstacles are in your way, or indeed if there's an easier position to throw that ball from. And all of that information is in your module handbook. Okay, so you've sat down, you've got your module handbook in front of you. You've either started the module, halfway through the module, or at the end of the module. You forget that. We'll park that for a second. The first thing you need to do in your module handbook, and I want you to go and do this now, if you've got an imminent assignment coming up, or you're about to finish this year and you're getting ready for next year, just think, okay, first assignment I've got, this is what I'm going to do. What I want you to do is print off, I know you're going to ruin the trees, but print off a copy of that module handbook. First thing. Next thing I want you to do is pause this button, pause this video after you've read the module handbook from beginning to end. It's about 10 pages and about 5 of those pages are worth reading. The rest will just be bump, okay? So I want you to pause that and give yourself a minute or two just to flick through it. So I'm going to pause. Right, welcome back. Okay, you've read it. Super. Okay. So what I want you to now quickly do and identify is zip through that module handbook, and I want you to underline what the learning outcomes are. And there's a reason for that. Those outcomes aren't just to signpost the new information, the new knowledge, the new skills, all the new expertise you have at the end of that module. That's not just what they're there for. They're there for you to demonstrate in your assignment as well. So I want you to think about, you know, when you watch like Ski Sunday or any of the skiing programs and you see some really, really athletic man or woman flying down a hill, hitting all those slaloms, okay? I want you to picture that that's you at the top of that hill, flying down the hill, which is writing this assignment, and all of those little bits that you're hitting from side to side, they're the learning outcomes. You need to hit all of those, okay? So before you start planning, just think, these are the things I need to include in this assignment. So just have it there at the back of your head. Just think, big picture, that's what I'm going to be doing, okay? Next thing I want you to look at is the assignment title. So that assignment title will tell you the kind of question that you're going to have to answer. So it could be a reflective piece. Now, reflective piece, while it's subjective and it's about your experience and your emerging thought processes, that's only part of it. The other part of it will be having an informed opinion. And I always say this to my students, and it sounds harsh, but it's true. Your opinion doesn't matter to your lecturers at all. So get that notion out of your head that you've got some amazing right to be heard. You don't. You only have a good right to be heard, and you're only due a good mark if your subjective opinion is informed by material and literature, okay? And that's where your learning objectives come in, okay? So look at the assignment title. Is it a reflective piece, or is it something that's asking you to recount a piece of information, or indeed, which is quite common, to compare two stances? So it might be two theoretical stances. So it could be a social constructivist way of teaching as opposed to a direct instruction way of teaching. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to do. Decide what's the style of question I'm going to be asked to do. Okay, now the next thing I want you to do, you're going to pause this video again. I want you to look at that assignment title and look at the learning objectives and see in your mind, how do they line up? What's the constructive alignment there? How do they trickle down? And I want you to think just off the top of your head, okay, looking at all of these things, there's my title, there's the learning objectives trickling down, okay? What pieces of information do I have right now that might demonstrate that I have an informed opinion? And that can be anything from lecture notes, journal articles, books, videos, could be observations in school, could be placements if you're anywhere else, okay? So just pause the video and just jot down that information. So I'm going to pause now. Okay, welcome back. So you've done that. So now you've got some direction on where you're going. Okay, so you're virtually there. You're 2/3 of the way prepared at this point. Your last and possibly the most important, or equally as important, is you need to look at the marking criteria. So in the universities that I've worked at, it's always a grid system. So you're going to have columns and rows, okay? And it should be organized, or it's very often organized, from highest mark on the left to lowest mark on the right, okay? So you'll have 80 to 100% on one side, 0 to 30 on the other, and then you have different permutations in between, for example. And then along the rows, you should have information saying something like subject knowledge. And it will say, like, if it's a really, really good one, it'll be consistently informed and critical analysis for subject knowledge, which basically says, look, you've read the information, you've thought about the information, you've looked at the whys and wherefores, and you can justify your opinion on it, okay? So it could be subject knowledge. It could be use of theory, where you're drawing on specific people mentioned in your module handbook, okay? So the theory is very, very important. So that straight away will tell you, okay, I need to demonstrate an emerging knowledge here. I need to name drop and know their material and know how to reference their material, which leads me on to another one, which is usually quite far down. Use of referencing. Use of referencing is so important, and it's the one where students lose marks really unnecessarily all the time. You need to get down with the referencing system for your university, and they vary. But people say to me, look, I use the Cite Them Right website. That's fine. I'm sure there's other websites, but what I would advise you to do, and from my experience, that website is okay. It's not bad, but go and get the Cite Them Right book. It's much easier to use, and you'll go right with it every time. But you need to be down and absolutely informed on how to do the referencing, because that can make the difference between 10% and even 10 to 20% in an assignment. So if you're someone who's desperate to pass, your referencing will get you over the edge possibly. It might be that one thing that pushes you over. Or if you're someone who's looking for a first, and you're a borderline first and your referencing isn't right, straight away you're down to 2-1. So it does matter. Get your referencing right. So when you're looking at that table, look at the areas that assignment is asking you to focus in on. So you've got your plan, you've got your assignment title, you've got your learning objectives, you've started to think about, okay, what information you can add on. Now the next layer is, okay, looking at that grade, how can I use that to inform my plan now? So again, pause it and just think off the top of my head, here's some of the things I need to either include, or if you've identified areas of weakness in your own knowledge, what you need to look up. So pause the video and just have a look for that. Okay, you're back. Right. So the last thing now is you've got your sketch. Your module handbook's informed your preparation and planning. Okay. The next thing you need to do now is begin writing. Okay, so we're going to stop this video here and we're going to come back to it in a few days time or a week's time. We're going to look at the writing phase. Okay, but while you're prepared, in between the writing phase, everyone has their own different way of doing it. I like using spider diagrams where I put the title in the middle, I put the key theorists, I put the key learning objectives, and I dot around and I slowly fill it in. And it's basically a splurge. Now, later on, I might not particularly use that plan to craft an assignment, but what it definitely does, it gets me in my mindset ready to start writing. That's the big thing. So it starts to get you warmed up. So it's like doing exercise. If you start doing full-on sprint straight away, you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to do yourself damage. You need to warm up. And this is part of getting your mind ready and alert and tuned into the writing process. So that's the preparation phase. I hope that's been helpful, but please, you need to engage with module handbooks. They're there for you. They're there to help you. They're not there to entertain you. Believe me, as a lecturer, I don't find them entertaining. But when I come to mark, they are what I use to inform my marking. And for you, they should be what are used to inform your writing and preparation as well. So I hope that's been helpful. Do come back and let me know how you've got on with that. You know, you can always add some comments on the YouTube page, on the YouTube page, or you can go onto my Twitter, dr.ag, and hopefully it's been some use, but some feedback will be good. So good luck with it.